All right, I can say Merry Christmas to everyone now. Welcome to our December 19th meeting. Please note Ms. Solis and Ms. Scott are absent this evening. And the first item on our agenda is items from council. I have a few things, but you guys want to go first?
I have one. It was brought to my attention by a resident of Terra Vista, which is fronts on Ball Airport Road more or less, that they've got sidewalks from Millette up to the center entrance of Terra Vista, but past that on to Glasgow, they do not. They particularly were concerned, especially at Halloween, kids out. There was no place for them to go except into the road at Ball Airport. Checking into it, found out that the developer was not, does not have to do that sidewalk because it actually doesn't front on Ball Airport. Somewhat of a technicality. But I would like to see if we couldn't perhaps put that into a future, periodically look at gaps in our sidewalks. That's a young neighborhood with a lot of kids, and it's growing rapidly in that general area. I think it'd be a great to have. And there's no crossings or anything as far as driveway openings and stuff like that.
I know I visited with Mr. Reese yesterday about getting a cost on it so we can look at it when we're doing our analysis. So be glad to.
Anyone else? I wanted to ask about Moody Street. Had a citizen ask me about it, or he was very polite. It's pretty rough over there. I think from 5 Points on down to the bridge. I don't know exactly where in there. Now, we're currently doing some work in there. Are we going to put it back to a certain standard or what? Because I know that's the state road. Not,
yes.
Technically, we're not responsible, but
The part of the contract is if with PMIs that they have to come back and do a final payment repair on that. And by our agreement with them, they have until the end of March to do that.
okay, it's been a little delayed.
Yeah,
right?
they've had some delays, yes, sir.
So by the end of March, okay. Just wanted to ask.
But we're finished with the utility work
Pretty
on
much,
Moody.
yeah. All the underground utility work is done. There's just some minor pavement repairs in the downtown area, and then the big pavement repair on Moody that's still left to be done in that contract.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
And another thing, the Housing Authority had three appointments, Bill Ruddock, Jeff Cano, and Gabe Barrera, and they all three wanted to continue serving on that. And I don't know if y'all remember, our only involvement with them is I approve the board appointments, I alone, which is, well, whatever, interesting. I just want to let y'all know that. So I think they're doing a good job over there. The other thing I had, the EOC plan, Emergency Operations Center, the judge and I talked yesterday. I know there's apparently people that want to see it released, and I'm all for that. But we need a little time to go through it, and there's some information there that needs to be redacted. I believe the various law enforcement agencies and Rick, the EOC director, are doing that now. Jeff and I talked, I guess, last week. Maybe do a little update in January about some of the progress. Anytime after a situation like with the hurricane is a good time to go back and make improvements and changes. So you and Jeff and Ms. Scott are on that committee to do that. And sometime, I don't know, January, do you remember what you talked to him as well?
The judge said that Rick was going to have the redactions done the first quarter of the year.
First quarter.
So he didn't commit to an exact date.
Okay, so there'll be, make it a little easier to release. 90% of it is probably fine to release. There's just some of it it's sensitive. And the idea is that we have to make sure we protect our citizens. There are things in there that just need to be kept with our first responders. Okay, wanted to mention that. I think that's all I have under items from council. Nothing else? No? Okay. We want to move into citizens' communications, and we have a guest here, and he's brought some people with him, Dr. Morgan from UHV. So he can come on up first, and he has a presentation for us.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Thank you. I'm pleased and honored to be with you this evening. As you probably know, at least from the news that's been there, we had our annual report last November. And at the annual report, we usually recognize several people with some awards. I do have with me, I guess before I get to that, I have my Vice President for Finance, Vice President and Provost for Academic Affairs, Marketing Communications Director, and Vice President for Advancement with me here today. So thank you for allowing us this time. One of the awards that we announced at that annual report ceremony was the Community Partnership Award. And that award we wanted to give to the City Council and the City Manager for your continuing and ongoing support of the educational opportunities at UHV. For a good long time, you have been very supportive of UHV, but in particular, the unanimous vote for the change to Ben Wilson Boulevard, enabling us to be able to modify that street and to make it accessible to our students so they could safely cross and get to, and if you've not been down there yet, you ought to go down and look at that crane and that building that's coming up. It's absolutely wonderful to see some construction going on. We're up to about the second floor and beginning to work and see some real progress. But the change to that street is going to make a major difference in the way the campus looks, the way the students are able to cross Ben Wilson, and we're excited about that. We're in the process of working on a contract with you. We hope to have that done very soon and get started on that. But we would like to present to you our Community Partnership Award. And it simply says from the University of Houston, Victoria, to Victoria's City Council and City Manager for 2016-17, the Community Partnership Award. And we'd like to make that presentation to you here this evening since you guys were tied up in a meeting and didn't have an opportunity to have that out at the awards, at the annual report.
Wonderful.
So-
Well, we'll come on, everybody come on out here for a photo. And
Just slide in close how you do it. Just kind of squeeze it. And let me put you next to Dr. Morgan. Thank you. Mr. Allen-Basket, just slide back. There we go. All right, folks. Right back at you. Yeah, Dr. Morgan, let's hear. Thank you, sir. All right, everybody. Here we go. All right, here's 1, 2, and last one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
What do you think? I'm a senator.
So you can get back to the city office.
Wait, he said, okay, let's go ahead.
oh, very nice. Well, I can certainly say on behalf of all of us, we appreciate the recognition and big thank you to you and all your staff. It's a wonder, you're such an asset to the community, very transformative to our community. So we look forward to a long, long working relationship for many, many years. All right. Y'all want to pass it around?
Okay.
Okay, we're still in citizens communication. If anyone else would like to come to the podium and discuss anything whatsoever, now would be the time. Just state your name for the record. We don't even need your address.
Hello, I'm Mark Lofgren. As the mayor said, you know who I am. First, I want to wish everybody and staff and the people up there Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I appreciate what you do. It's a hard job. You do a good job. That being said, me telling you you're doing a good job doesn't make the city or the city council better at what it does. It's feedback that makes you squirm in your chair, and if you take it to heart, will make you better at what you do. The October 17th meeting, you discussed the city's response to the hurricane, and I would like to thank Councilman Bachnight for getting that on the agenda, and the point he made about the Open Meetings Act, councilmen often don't get to can't discuss issues unless it's at a council meeting. It would be great if you would take some topics, and in that vein, I'd like to talk about streets. You could take water, for example. Mr. Halapaskas would love to talk about water. You could take downtown. Dr. Young likes that. But there's all sorts of topics that you guys should discuss as leaders and give direction. I often hear Charmel say, I need some direction. It's usually around budget time, but it would be good. You need some new ideas. You need to stir the pot a little bit. But I want to talk about streets. In the 2025 and the 2035 comprehensive plan, the number one issue is better streets. And there's a table in the 2035 thing that talks about there's supposed to be an annual street inventory so you can decide where to budget your money, how the CIP is going to come out to be. Where's the street inventory for this year? There is no street inventory for this year.
It's coming.
It'll
It's
be
coming.
next year though, right?
Well, no, they're doing the work right now. It's
They're
coming.
doing the work right now.
Yes.
But to that vein, there needs to be discussion about streets. The street maintenance plan had 3 things on it. One was reconstruction, preventive maintenance, and reactive maintenance. And under reactive maintenance was potholes. And I have in my neighborhood, the potholes are growing exponentially. They're not disappearing. When I came here 4.5 years ago and talked about streets, I wanted to get my streets fixed. My streets are not on the CIP for the next 5 years. I've had more and more potholes. I don't think there's a process to fix the potholes in the city, and if there is, it's not working. You have 600 employees. The other day, I was at Mockingbird in Maine, and there was a police officer who had somebody stopped. And right over there on Vine Street, there's a crater, okay? The garbage trucks go down my street. They go through the potholes, make them worse. Couldn't they let somebody know there's potholes? I call the number all the time, and the response is great. It's better than Amazon Prime. They're there in less than 24 hours. Okay, but if you ask them to do the potholes from this street to that street, if there's one that's slightly over on the adjoining street, it doesn't get done. Now, the other day I called and I said, I would like all the potholes filled in Castle Hills West instead of just a street. Because right now when I leave my house, if I go down one way, there's a big pothole. If I go down the other way, there's a big pothole. Then I get on to, if I go on to Hawthorne, it's nothing but a patchwork quilt. Then Derry Road. Please drive down Derry Road, okay? Most people drive in the middle of the road because the road is so bad. There needs to be a process for fixing the potholes that works. It shouldn't be acceptable. We've let it be acceptable, and it shouldn't be acceptable. So please, come up with a process. So when you discuss streets, and it's part of the street maintenance plan is filling potholes. So what's your process going to be to fill potholes? Everybody have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Citizens' communication still open if anyone else would like to come up. Okay, seeing none, we'll close citizens' communication. We have one ordinance, or two actually, but both have public hearings.
Item C1 is an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Victoria, Texas, related to the disaster declaration issued by Mayor Paul Pawlasek on August 24th, 2017, in response to Hurricane Harvey, partially waiving certain brush and bulky pickup fees, declaring an emergency, providing for savings, and declaring an effective date.
Move we adopt.
Public hearing? Public hearing?
Yeah. We'll hold that thought, Mr. Halapaska. We'll open the public hearing. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention. On C1, if anyone would like to speak to that issue alone, now would be the time. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing on C1 and entertain that motion again.
Move we adopt C1.
Second.
We have a motion second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it.
May
Now,
I make,
C,
may I make a comment before you move, just for council's?
Sure,
If you
sure.
don't mind, you know, John attends the long-term recovery meetings on Fridays. And so this Friday, John and Daryl will both go to talk to the long-term recovery group about this ordinance and the waiving of fees, so that will be clear understanding on all parties. So, thank you.
Yes, ma'am, yeah. Now, C2, I'll remind you, there's no action for us. It's just a public hearing, so won't need any motions. I'll open the public hearing on C2 if anyone would like to speak to this item.
C2 is a public hearing on the CDBG Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report for the period of October 1st, 2016 to September 30th, 2017.
Thank you for reading that.
Watching you.
It is the last meeting of the year, so, okay, public hearing's open on C2, if anyone would like to comment. Okay. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing on C2. Is there any discussion for count by council? I was pleased when I read the update. None, okay. All right, the plan is going as ahead, as planned, so very good. Consent agenda.
There are 7 items on the consent agenda today that will be approved by a single vote. They are: first, the approval of minutes of the regular meeting of December 5th, 2017. Second, a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit an application for and to execute all documents necessary to accept specific stop-loss insurance from Munich Re in an estimated amount of $504,743 and declaring an effective date. D3 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to pay the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality $78,039.85 for the annual water system fee for the city's public water system and declaring an effective date. D4 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an amendment to extend the contract for the mowing of drainage ditches and outfalls with WW Services and declaring an effective date. D5 is an ordinance amending the 2017-2018 City of Victoria General Fund budget to provide funding in the amount of $163,688 for a railroad closure seal coat project, providing for savings and declaring an effective date. D6 is a resolution awarding the railroad closure seal coat project to Brandon Paving Company Limited for their low bid of $163,688, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to complete the project and declaring an effective date. And D7 is an ordinance amending the 2017-2018 City of Victoria General Fund, TxDOT Overpass Reimbursement Fund, and Riverside Park Golf Fund budgets in the amount of $714,191 to provide funding for the operation of Riverside Golf Course, providing for savings and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, all those items pass. E1.
E1 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to submit a home program grant application to the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs for homeowner rehabilitation assistance and declaring an effective date.
Motion to approve item E1.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions, discussion? Okay. This is we gave permission a while back to apply for this, and the good thing is there's, as I understand it, there's no local match as a result of the hurricane, so we don't have to,
Hurricane Harvey funding, yes.
good stuff, okay. No questions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it. E2.
E2, Mayor and Council, note there is a substituted version of this ordinance in front of you that we will consider, which strikes the phrase previously received. And so this is a resolution authorizing the transfer of private check donations designated for Hurricane Harvey relief to the United Way and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to adopt E2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it. E3.
E3 is a resolution supporting AEP Texas's Central Company's LED pilot program to establish an LED street lighting facilities rate and providing LED street lighting service to mutually agreed upon locations within the city of Victoria, supporting any amendments to AEP's tariff necessary to make service available, and declaring an effective date.
Council,
Make a motion to approve.
we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Any information you need to share?
I don't really have any information unless you want me to just give a brief overview of it. It's as it stands right now, the city does not have a tariff or rate in place for LEDs, which means AEP can't install them. There's just no way to bill us for them. So what this does is kind of set a rate, set a tariff for that, and gets us in the game of having putting up LED lights in the future. You know, on some of the facilities that the city owns and maintains ourselves, we are already putting up LED lighting. But for the ones that are owned and maintained by AEP, we'll need to get this in place so that we can start putting up LED in the future.
Very good. Any further discussion? Seeing,
LEDs, I think, are really great stuff. I put one in my house this past weekend.
Yeah. If you have any real technical questions, V. Strauss is here with AEP. She said she'd love to come up here and answer all the technical questions you might have.
I failed to recognize her. V, welcome to our meeting, and while you're sitting there, thank you for all the hard work y'all did during the storm, and you were particularly accessible to all of us. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Well, we-
I'm going to echo that thanks. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
going to mention that V did an incredible job during the hurricane and keeping us informed. So it was a pleasure doing business with her.
Yeah. Okay, any questions about this? Sounds like a good deal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, ayes have it. So E4.
E4 on the addendum is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a real estate sales contract with Pete and Patricia Dugash for the sale of city-owned property located at 80505 North Navarro and declaring an effective date.
Motion.
Second.
Been motion and second. Any questions?
Try again.
Let's make it go this time. Okay. No questions? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, okay, the ayes have it. E6,
Five.
E5, excuse me.
E5 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with EasyGo, a division of Textron Incorporated, as financed through PNC Equipment Finance LLC for golf carts for Riverside Golf Course in the amount of $4,308.50 per month and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve item E5.
Second?
We have a motion, second. Any questions or discussion? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same. Okay, the ayes have it. E6.
E6 is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement with Professional Turf Products as financed through PNC Equipment Finance LLC to lease purchase a turf equipment package for Riverside Golf Course in the amount of $7,790.75 per month and declaring an effective date.
Make a motion to approve item E6.
Second.
Okay, motion seconded. Any discussion, questions? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, that passes. We are in city manager reports. We have just one, correct?
Yes, but I'd like to ask, have a question. Since we have a budgeted item on the golf course on there, I'm recommending $2 for the non-resident fee, and I didn't, just making sure everybody's okay with that. Any questions have on that? Yeah, the $2.
Well, and I'm trying to get a handle on this myself and make sure we understand. We have the youth sports complex, and people come from around various places and play. We don't have an in-town or an out-of-town residency requirement. It's about the kids playing baseball or whatever. I'm trying to get a handle on why we wish to. I understand that the city is footing the bill, but are we really, is that where the money lives by $2 extra for out-of-town or out-of-city limits rates? I'm not sure. I'm trying to get a handle on it. Where are we trying to go? We don't do this on other things. The community center, for instance, or the youth sports complex, or adult baseball, or things of this nature. What is our policy going forward? Are we going to try to start setting separate rates on everything we do based upon residency requirements? Is that what we wish to do?
Well, I think for a golf course, this is kind of typical of what I've seen in the past at different municipal golf courses. A recognition that city taxpayers are at least initially here funding part of the golf course, hoping that this thing will become self-sustaining. But it's recognition that it's a city of Victoria, it's your resident that pays taxes here, and it's your municipal golf course. That's why I brought it up. It's something
And I
that's
don't
kinda
disagree.
standard
I'm
in the-
trying to understand clearly why we would do this slightly different than others, and where we're going forward with other issues or other similar things. And we are on the hook for our city streets, but we don't stop people from out of town driving on our city streets. It's a city taxpayers paid for.
Well, we
There
get
are other
sales, we get
parallels.
sales tax when they stop. So hopefully.
It's just something that I've noticed in the industry as being kind of a standard thing. I don't know enough about other ballparks or facilities in other communities to know how their rates change. It's just something that I'd experienced before.
Well, I want to be careful on this is all, and I'm asking the questions I feel
Is-
like need to be asked. And
Is it difficult to administer? I mean, how's this work? I walk up, I want to play golf, and the first question is, do you live in town? Are you just going to go by the honor system?
Correct, yeah. I mean, unless we have some kind of tracking to be able to post everybody's address to, to a map and understand where exactly they live in the city, whether it's actually inside the city limits, it would be really an honor system deal. It would have to be just for time constraints. We don't want to keep somebody at the counter forever. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to both sides of it. It can be a very common, in some areas, it is common to have a resident rate. And there's benefits to it. There's, cons to it at the same time. So whatever you guys wish, we'll make it work.
You could also offer as the $2 discount to city residents, just show your ID.
That's the other way to look at it, yeah.
might be better, I don't know.
It's a nominal increase to start
Yeah.
with, and as we build our utilization and our data from who's golfing, it's gonna help us, go back in and make changes as we need to, so.
Correct.
It'll
But-
be,
Yes,
I'm sorry, I interrupt you. It'd be interesting to see the data in a
Mm-hmm.
few years, because we didn't get a lot of data. And, if the difference is $600 or $1,200, we can always just go to the county and tell them, if you'll just give us $1,200, we'll waive.
Roger, rock.
No, but they obviously, that doesn't mean they're gonna be from other counties. I hope there's people from everywhere, but the majority of them will be those that live in the Victoria area, but I don't know if it's a real nominal amount in a year or two.
And I don't know
relook at
either.
it.
That's why I'm trying to get a
Yeah.
handle on it and think through the thought process of where we're heading on this, on not only just that, but on other issues that are similar. The YMCA pool and on, we have so many parallels. Some of them are sports venues, some of them are not sports venues, but they're all are important to citizens of this town. And we've all built it, and our fathers and grandfathers built it. It's us to maintain it. And I'm not sure it's where we want to go immediately, or at least early on. I'd sure like to look at some numbers, see if it made much difference. If we're going to be trying to data mine our attendees or players or golf players, we'd have a clearer view pretty quick if we're data mining it properly.
we'll be collecting lots of data and lots of utilization and, when the course is being used. And one of the reasons we ask in September for the authority to make rate changes to me is because Roland comes in and says, hey, we've got some tee times, we've got some times that are not being utilized. Let's offer a special, during the day on a Tuesday to get people to come golf. So we'll be doing that to market the club. But we are scheduled to open January 6th. which is just around the corner. It's our second opening, so we're excited about it, and I know staff's getting excited. The course is looking good, and, we've got part-time employees starting Thursday. So Rolando can get them trained and ready to go. So we're excited about it. So we think I'm getting lots of calls from golfers that are looking for it to open up. And, I was in the mall on Saturday and had one stop and talk to me about it. Couldn't wait till it got back open. So I was kind of surprised. So, but it's nice. Thank y'all.
The course looks great.
Thank you.
We're fortunate to have Rolando on board with us. We're looking forward to what all he's going to do out there.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, we'll get a green superintendent hired pretty soon, so got a good candidate for that. But yeah, looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank council. You've made, a lot of good questions and we're moving forward. So, good. So Boot Fest, want to hear about
At Joel.
Joel's, he's wearing a tie. He's in his presentation outfit.
Thank you very much, Council. Before I begin my presentation this evening, we're going to show as we have in the past, a short recap video of Boot Fest that OC and its staff put together through lots of filming hours out there at Boot Fest 2017. So, James, when we're ready. Thank you, sir.
Magnets attract or magnets repel. They either connect or they fight like hell. Well, it depends on how you turn them. All hopped up on passion, gal, you lose all your rationale, and so do I. When the fires start burning, it's okay to lose control now and then. That's just the way it is. Love is crazy, always has been. It'll make you laugh and cry and stay up all night. Love is crazy, always will be. Baby, hang on tight, 'cause love is crazy. Chasing each other around at 2 a.m. The neighbors' patience wearing thin. We live our lives too loud. Oh, well, they're not sure we're doing this right. Don't they make love after they fight? Honey, we don't need that crowd. They say we've lost our minds. Oh, but who cares if they're right? Love is crazy, always has been. We'll make you laugh and cry and stay up all night. Love is crazy, always will be. Baby, hang on tight, 'cause love is crazy. Up to you and me, the world could use more insanity. Love is crazy, always has been. We'll make you laugh and cry and stay up all night. Love is crazy, always will be. Baby, hang on tight, 'cause love is crazy.
All right. Well, as you can see, we had some fantastic weather for Boot Fest 2017 again, going on a few years now. So hopefully that streak continues. And Boot Fest 2017 did take place in downtown Victoria, October 6th and 7th. So first weekend in October, which gives us a great position as sort of being the first festival in this area out of the gates. When you're talking about a competitive set for Boot Fest, you're talking Cuero Turkey Fest, Yorktown Western Days, and it's great, which are great festivals, and we're grateful to be first out of the gate in that group. Some facts about Boot Fest first. Boot Fest does use hot funds, hotel occupancy tax funds, which can only be spent to increase overnight stays in Victoria. Cannot be used on streets, lower taxes, etc. Goals for Boot Fest, of course, are to increase our overnight hotel rooms, hold a festival in downtown Victoria, the city's festival, and a safe, high-quality experience, free music, entertainment that really can be available to all social and economic groups here in Victoria and the region. If you look at the stage view of 2016 to this year, you can see it's pretty comparable. We had, this is Saturday night, 10 p.m. The festival ends at 11, so this is really peak times. 2016, we had Pat Green as our headliner. This year, Casey Donahue. So two great Texas country acts, and you can see they drew both pretty similar crowds. As far as the attendance goes, the attendance was down a little bit this year. Pretty comparable on Friday night, down quite a bit, down a little bit on Saturday night. These counts do come from us, from the Victoria County Office of Emergency Management, Rick McBrayer and his staff, and they have a great methodology in place to capture those counts. In the midst of Hurricane Harvey happening a month before the festival, we still think those are some really great numbers, and it was great that Boot Fest could be there as a sort of break for people who probably really needed it at that moment.
Joel,
Yes, sir.
let me interrupt you there,
Sure.
and it was right after that. And every one of our employees was really tired and had been putting in a lot of hours, and I want to commend all of y'all for stepping up and making sure that festival happened. I know there was a little bit of a pause for some people that, we've been through a lot. Should we do this? And I think it was the right choice. And staff, y'all worked so hard. I was there with you guys, so it's very appreciated.
They enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Yes. And the total attendance, 14,500 to 17,500. These are also very conservative estimates because they are taken at the peak times of the festival and don't necessarily count the attendees that attend during the day on Saturday. Boot Fest does start at 6 p.m. on Friday, went to a little bit later this year to 11:30, but Saturday starts off really early at 10 a.m. So there are a lot of families with smaller children maybe that may come during the day, take advantage of the shorter lines at the kids corral, at the vendors. And we did have some fantastic weather on Saturday again. We got some great reporting from our vendors, just showing a little bit of the economic impact of Boot Fest. We did a survey out to our vendors, just basically asking them what their gross sales were, average gross sales, and quite a few of our food vendors reported, a good number of our merchandise. So that's some economic impact that was spent with Crossroads region vendors. And then if you see at the bottom, all the average gross sales by all Boot Fest vendors, because we have vendors that come from all over the state, Houston area, San Antonio area, even north is Waco, Dallas-ish kind of area. So really a statewide event, especially for vendors. And then the money that the city spends, we spend with local vendors, local storefronts here. Quite a bit of funds here spent locally with a lot of great service providers. We're lucky to have Victoria, a lot of great providers who can get us what we need to put the festival on. If you count the total gross sales by the Crossroads region vendors with the money spent by us, you're looking at maybe 130 to 170,000 spent here in Victoria in the Crossroads region. We had just a great lineup of performing acts again. That includes musical acts. The trick roper that you saw, so that came out to about 20 acts total, and then the free kids corral, of course, always a big attraction. The car show, the Dalton car truck and motorcycle show did very well again at 78 vehicles, and some other entertainment. You saw Painting the Town in the video with the Victoria Art League, the Washers Tournament, the free Washers Tournament. We brought that back, and that did very well. And we had the 5 Western crafters who we do allow to come to Boot Fest, no charge as long as they promise to demonstrate their craft. So it gives a great, that Western ranching heritage feel to Boot Fest. As far as vendors go, we had 27 food vendors, many of them Crossroads region vendors filling up 28 spaces, and then 41 merchandise vendors filling up 55 spaces. And that's because some of the merchandise vendors get 2 spaces, a 12 by 24 space. Most of the food vendors are satisfied with that 20 by 15. We did have one food vendor that took up 2 spaces, applied and received 2 spaces. Our free shuttle bus service, we continued that this year, was very successful, was able to use Elegant Charter limousines and 3,297 riders. That's a big help. That's a great service. You can imagine that many cars trying to park in downtown Victoria, that many people trying to, with their vehicles, to park in downtown Victoria. So that's a great partnership we have with Victoria County to use the Patty Dotson Health Center. The Boot Fest Blue Sky 5K came back for a second year and had a great turnout again. Lots of Victoria runners, mostly Crossroads region, but even you see a few Houston area runners up there. The Boot Fest softball tournament, the numbers were down a little bit for this year, and that was, and we'll have a slide here in the second show, the hotel occupancy that we had here during Boot Fest. A lot of Hurricane Harvey related stays. We had some of the softball teams weren't able to participate because it was hard to find rooms at the time. A lot of local support for Boot Fest, voted best festival by the Best of the Best Victoria Advocate for 5 years running now. Hoping to add a 6 on there again this coming spring. The sponsorships for Boot Fest at $48,500 for cash, in kind at $68,000, and then volunteer spots billed at $445, which is keeping in line with what we've filled in the past. And then again, to mention, a lot of we really appreciate our volunteers, especially this year in light of everything that's happened. It was much appreciated. Could not do the festival without those folks. But this is from our STAR report that we receive, and as you can see, just around where Harvey landed, you can see the uptick in hotel occupancy that held till the Boot Fest weekend, approaching 85% here in town. So it was pretty hard to find rooms. We're really appreciative of we received help from some of our hotel travel partners in helping us locate some rooms for some of the softball tournament officials and things like that. But rooms were in short supply this year, and so a lot of contractors, roofers, things like that, staying in town. As far as the financials for Boot Fest 2017 go, as you can see, the revenues were $1,214. $184,214. The expenses, $248,227. With that, $64,013 shortfall. But we will continue to fund Boot Fest from the reserve fund. The current Boot Fest reserve balance of $195,579. And Boot Fest 2018 will be held October 5th and 6th. Plan on having another great free festival in downtown Victoria. And available for any questions at this time.
Council? I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm looking at OC because I talked to him about it. I'm hoping to maybe see a little change in the flavor of music for Friday night. It's just a suggestion. Mm-hmm. Some rock and roll, some 80s type stuff. I was downtown and there was a Guns N' Roses cover band, and it was a fundraiser. And that crowd rivaled our Friday night crowd. I was amazed. And so I had to ask OC, you ever consider that? I think, and I don't know, I'm sure, Joel, he talked to you about it, but at some point, he said something to the effect that we actually had the same thought. So hoping y'all are looking into that and see what's feasible.
Yeah, they've had some great attendance at those rock cover band night things. Yeah, that's been... Yeah,
that demographic will turn out. And, okay, I'm seeing a few people nod their head. I'm not crazy, So hopefully maybe this year and next year it'll be something like that. Y'all can pull it off. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I have my favorites. I've already expressed that too. But, it's not my decision.
Everybody has their favorites.
That's right. Just a little change in flavor. So any questions, Council? Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you. And we're adjourned, and Merry Christmas to everyone.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.